Some of the student teachers I've talked to recently still haven't started their student teaching experience. They won't be starting for a few more weeks. Whereas some of the other student teachers that I've talked to are already a month into their program. Whether you're getting ready to student teach or you're already going through your student teaching experience, the advice that I'm sharing with you today will surely help you make a positive impression during your student teaching experience and, of course, help you get that letter of recommendation at the end of your experience.
Welcome to the North Dakota Teaching Podcast. Whether you're a first-year teacher, veteran teacher, or just a mom trying to gain some new insights, you are right where you are meant to be. Kayla Durkin, founder of the Blossoming Teacher course, is passionate about helping new teachers blossom into the teacher they were born to be. Kayla wants to help inspire teachers to be their best self, whether that means sharing about personal or professional development, self-care, or the latest and most effective teaching strategies. Through this podcast, you will hear from real teachers sharing their stories about teaching, all with one main goal in mind: to be able to make an impact and help other teachers blossom. And with that, here is your host, Kayla Durkin.
Hey friends, in case you missed it, today we're talking all about how to make a positive impression while you're student teaching. Since I'm not sure where you are in your teaching experience, we're going to start by taking a few steps back and begin with what happens when you find out where your placement is. Of course, if you're already in your student teaching experience, I want you to know that some of the things that we're going to be talking about today are still very relevant for you. And I also want you to know, if you're not a student teacher at all, if you're a first-year teacher or you've been teaching for a while, these tips are going to help you if you ever move schools, move districts, or move into a new building. I do want to remind you, though, the heart of our conversation this week is focused around student teachers. So although I know this advice is helpful for everyone, I will be referencing student teachers during our episode today. Since I'm talking to student teachers who are all around the country, which is so amazing, thank you so much for being here. I know that all programs are just so different. Some programs will have your cooperating teacher reach out to you. Other programs will have you reach out to your cooperating teacher. Whatever the case is, this is our very first chance to make a positive impression. And again, this is the same for if you're reaching out to a new team of teachers, to a new building principal. All of those opportunities are a very fresh chance to make a lasting impression on the people that you are interacting with. When you're making that initial contact, take time to think through what you want to say and what you want to share. If your college program has guidelines that say what you should share, that's fantastic and that's really helpful. But if they don't, I do have a few suggestions for you. When we're getting ready to student teach, we want to form a positive relationship with our mentor teacher from day one. Some schools refer to this as a cooperating teacher, a supervising teacher. I just want you to know, when I say your mentor teacher or your cooperating teacher, I am referring to the teacher who is the head teacher of the classroom that you're in. So we really do want to make a positive impression right away, because guess what? You're going to be working with this person for the next few weeks and even months. I know some experiences are only 4 to 6 weeks, others might be 3 to 4 months long. Whatever it is, we just want to be sure that we start off with a professional and positive relationship. When you're comfortable with the teacher that you're teaching under, you'll be more receptive to their ideas and to their lessons, to constructive feedback, and you're just going to get so much more out of your experience. Whether you're midway through your experience or you're just getting ready to start, please, please, please remember this. We want to be sure that we are treating every single day like a job interview, from the way you dress to the way you act to the way that you are interacting with the peers that are around you. Every single day is a chance for you to shine and a chance for you to show how capable you are and how much you want to be a teacher. The very first thing you can do to make a positive impression before you even make that initial contact is get to know your school and district. If your school has a handbook online, or if your district has a handbook, if they both have handbooks, download those handbooks and read through every single page. By taking time to read what's in the handbooks is not only going to be impressive to people who you are talking to when you're able to refer back to some of the guidelines that the district or the school has set in in place, but you also never know when you're going to be in a situation where you're going to need to know what the district or that school has as their expectation for the certain situation that you're dealing with. If you can, possibly print off the handbooks so that you can keep them with you if you want to refer back to them, or if that's not an option, if you absolutely don't have a printer, make sure you keep the PDF on your desktop, or if you're using an iPad, just keep it handy. If a situation comes up, you might want to refer back to that handbook, and it'll be important to have it available for whenever you need it. Now that you know a little bit about the school and the district that you're going to be working with, let's talk about making that first impression and the initial contact. If you don't have any guidelines, here are some suggestions that I have for you. Share who you are. Share what program you're going through. Tell them a little bit about your degree, share why you want to be a teacher, what you're looking forward to about your experience, things that you feel comfortable with, things that you're easy to learn more about, questions that you might have about the school, questions that you might have about your specific placement. And I think it's important to share a little bit too about what you're hoping to get out of the experience. If there are some areas that you know you feel uncomfortable in, this would be a great time to share them with your cooperating teacher so that they can already start thinking of ways that they can help you blossom into the teacher that you were born to be. During that initial contact, I also urge you to ask if there is a time, if possible, that you can go visit the school in person, get a tour of the school, get to know the layout of the school. If possible, maybe they'll even let you come a few days before your experience begins so that you can do a quick meet and greet with the students before your actual first day. While you're there and while you're touring the school, get to know the staff in the building, get to know the teachers across the hall. Ask where the teachers have lunch, if it's appropriate for you to buy a lunch or if you should bring your own lunch. You could ask if there's an appropriate place to park, what time you should be showing up every day, how you're going to be entering the building, if you need keys that are going to give you access to the classroom, if there are book rooms, supply rooms, or manipulative rooms where you can gather items that you might need for upcoming lessons. Another big one might be ask if you can have access to the printer. If you know that you're going to want to be printing task cards or different activities that you're going to be doing with students, find out what you're going to have to do if you need to print. You'll want to know if everything needs to be printed through your cooperating teacher, if you should be printing them on your college campus, if you need to be printing things at home, or if they're going to let you have access to printing on your own computer. You'll also want to find out if they're providing a device for you or if you're expected to use your own device. For me, when I started student teaching, I knew a device wasn't provided and that I would be buying a new one for my student teaching experience because my college computer was on its very last leg. And so I reached out to my cooperating teacher and I said, which type of computer would be best for my experience in your classroom? My cooperating teacher let me know that they used Apple products, so if I was comfortable getting an Apple product, that would be great. But again, she left it up to me. So if you're in the same situation where your student teaching experience isn't providing you with a device and you know you need a new device, it wouldn't hurt to reach out and see which one would be most compatible with your upcoming experience. If you're able to go to the school and get a tour, ask if you can meet the secretary, the administration, get to know the janitors that you're going to be seeing. When you're able to introduce yourself, have authentic conversations, learn the layout of the school, and show how excited you are to be there, that's going to show everyone in the building, wow, this person is great. I can't wait to learn more and work with them a little bit more in the future. Of course, I want you to be who you are, your most authentic self when you go through this experience. But sometimes this is hard. If you're more reserved, if you're a little bit shy, if it's hard for you to open up to people, I don't want you to be fake and be someone that you're not, but you are going to have to work hard to push yourself out of your comfort zone because sometimes being shy and reserved can come off the wrong way. It can maybe look like you're uninterested or you don't want this as much as you should. I totally understand how that might not be the case, but I do want you to know that by being shy and reserved, even if that really is your personality, it might come off the wrong way. So you're going to have to work hard on trying to open up, on trying to get to know people. I really do know that can be a challenge, but I want to challenge you to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. During this time that you're preparing for your upcoming experience to begin, Ask the teacher if you can get a class list. Ask the teacher if you can get copies of the IEPs. Ask the teacher if you can get a copy of the school calendar, of the daily schedules, of the meeting schedules, anything that's going to be pertinent to you and for information that you're going to want to have. Try to get access of it now so that you can put all of those things into your student teaching binder and be prepared, organized, and ready to begin your experience. With this binder, of course, you're going to want to have pages printed out for notes. You're going to want to have pages printed out for your daily lesson plans. You'll want a monthly calendar at a glance. If your teacher has routines or expectations or a school-wide expectation flow chart that they follow, these are also great things that you should put into your student teaching binder so that you are organized, prepared, and so that you have time to go through these and memorize them before your experience begins. If you forget what time snack time is or that they go out for recess after lunch, it's totally not the end of the world, but you're going to feel much more comfortable going throughout the day with your experience when you know what's on the agenda as well. Okay, so now we're at the point in this podcast where I want us to do just a little bit of a reflection. I want you to take a minute to think about someone who inspires you, someone who you've met and you've been like, wow, that person is incredible. That person is absolutely amazing. I want to be that person when I grow up. So take a minute here. You can pause this podcast if you want to, and just think about this special person. List their qualities in their head. List what makes them special. Why did they stand out to you? What about them was so infectious? For me, when I think about people who are contagious to be around, I think about positive people. People who are able to look at any situation and have a productive conversation. People who are go-getters and always willing to try new things. People who love new ideas. People who are brave, who are willing to take risks. And of course, people who always put students' needs first. I think about people who are positive, people who love to learn, people who make me feel good about myself when I'm with them. So now I want you to think about you. When you're around people, what do you think they think about you? No, I don't want you to feel like everyone is judging you. But what would people say? Would they say you have a great laugh, a great sense of humor, such a fun personality? Would they say you're really shy and quiet and reserved? Would they say you're always willing to help, you're accountable, you're organized, and you're prepared? As we're reflecting, I want you to think about what are one or two characteristics that you admired about that person you were just thinking about a little bit ago who inspired you? And I want to know, is it possible for you to try and work on a few of those characteristics about them? Again, not that I want you to be someone who isn't you, but it's never bad to want to be a better version of ourselves every single day. Remember here, we're trying to make a positive impression from day one. Now let's think about just a few characteristics that I know help student teachers to stand out and make a positive impression. Of course, with one keyword being positive, if you're able to have a positive outlook on all situations, to take the negatives and turn them into constructive ways that you can be better, if you're able to take situations that were hard for you and learn from them and grow, that is going to truly make you stand out. If you're teachable, if you're a learner, if you're always willing to try new things, if you're willing to involve yourself in the planning, in the nitty-gritty, dirty, and hard situations, if you're willing to learn more about IEPs and about the special ed department and willing to take risks, think outside of the box, try lessons that you found online, or even being willing to fail, those are things that are going to make you stand out. No, I don't ever want you to fail, but the reality is that teachers fail all of the time. But there's one main thing that separates the good teachers from the great teachers, and that's that some teachers, when they fail hard. And for them, they're like, nope, I'm never doing that again. It was absolutely awful. This is why I always stick to A, B, and C. Whereas other teachers, when they fail, they're like, wow, that had potential to be great. Today it wasn't, but what can I do better next time? What do I need to do to ensure that the next time I try this lesson, it goes better than I could have ever imagined? When we're able to get back up right after a hard day, after something didn't go as well, after a kid said something mean to us, after a situation just didn't go as planned, if we can get back up and rise above, you truly will stand out amongst the rest. Some big things here, though, are be sure that you're able to take constructive feedback. I know sometimes it's so hard when people are always just pointing out the things that we did wrong. And I understand that some of you might have cooperating teachers who are truly just the worst. I hate to say it, but it's going to happen. Sometimes we're going to be around people who just don't fill our bucket, but we still need to be willing to take what they're saying and learn from it. We have to be willing to respect their ideas. We have to be willing to agree to disagree. But at the same time, we have to remember that this is their classroom. And even though we might be seeing things that we absolutely never want to see or do in our own classrooms, take that as a learning experience and say, no, I'm not quite getting out of this experience what I was hoping for, but at least I'm learning things that I know I don't ever want to do as an educator. So before we end today's episode, I just wanted to remind you of just a few more things that I want you to continue to try and work on as you're going through one of the most exciting journeys of your life. Work on being confident. For some of us, confidence comes naturally. If you're anything like me, it absolutely doesn't. I absolutely positively worry about every single thing that every single person says about me in every single situation that I'm in, but I'm working on that. I'm working on being confident even when I don't feel like it. Absolutely, positively, no matter what, always be on time. I know things come up. I really, really do. When I was student teaching, I had a bamboo sitting on my bathroom counter, and one day, right before I was getting ready to leave, the bamboo fell off the counter, shattered. Not only was there glass and water and my bamboo everywhere, but when the glass shattered, it also got pieces of glass in my skin and cut my legs up a little bit. Yes, that was a horrible situation that I absolutely positively couldn't have planned for, but I still had to do my best to hurry as much as I could so that I could get out the door and be on time. Things are going to come up, but do your best. Life happens, and hopefully most of your cooperating teachers will understand that. But try your best to never be late. So then, if something like that happens to you and you are by chance accidentally late, one time out of your whole experience won't look as bad as if you're always coming in late. When you can, go above and beyond. Try not to just stick with the norm. Try to try new things. This is your opportunity to have someone there with you if things aren't going well. So why not think out of the box? Why not try to go above and beyond and see what you can do and what you are truly capable of as an educator? Stay committed to your experience. Put in as much effort on your last few weeks of your student teaching experience as you're going to on your first few weeks. Keep the momentum going the whole time and make sure that you stay accountable. If you tell your cooperating teacher that you're willing to take on that extra role to help them plan this lesson, to get these supplies, whatever it is, make sure you're accountable, because those are all going to be things that they're going to be thinking back on when they're getting ready to write that letter of recommendation. Another great thing that you can do is ask questions. If you don't understand how the behavior plan works, why the IEP is written the way it was, what standards are supposed to be taught and when, if you're unsure of anything, now is your time to learn as much as you can, where you have someone who is literally getting paid to help you. Don't forget that. The people that you're student teaching under, they're getting paid. They are there to help you grow as an educator, and they are getting paid to help you in any way that they possibly can. So I know sometimes we feel like a burden and we feel like a nuisance, but ask questions. Take this time to learn truly whatever you possibly can that's going to help you when you're getting ready to take on your first classroom. If you can during your experience, see if there's an opportunity to observe other grade levels. See if there's an opportunity to observe the teacher across the hall, to see a different subject being taught. Yes, I know you've been in school for the past 3 or 4 years and you feel like you know what subject or grade you want to teach, but if you're able to check out other classrooms and get other experience and see other teachers' styles of teaching, that's only going to help you even more. I understand that you've been observing a lot, but every single teacher teaches so differently, and there are always takeaways that we can find, whether they're good or bad, from every single teacher that we see. To end this podcast today, I just want to remind you to believe in yourself. You are absolutely right where you are meant to be. You are strong. You are capable. You are confident. You are exactly who these students need you to be. Believe in who you are. Trust your gut, and if you know that you're doing what's right for kids and you truly, full-heartedly believe that with all of your might, then I know you're doing a great job, and I know that you are going to make a phenomenal teacher in the future. Of course, I just want to remind you, if you're still looking for more tips while you're student teaching, just head to ndteaching.com/student teacher, and those 10 tips are going to show up right in your inbox. Thank you so much for being here today. I 100% know you are going to be a phenomenal student teacher, and if you're already in your experience or you're nervous about an upcoming experience, send me a DM on Instagram. Let's chat. You can always find me at North Dakota Teaching. I am here to help you however I can.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the North Dakota Teaching Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort. Be sure to tune in to the next episode for more teaching tips to make an impact. Until next time.